Hello, everybody. I'll unmute myself.
Hello.
Hey. Okay. I know some folks are having a little bit of trouble getting into the room, but I'm just gonna go ahead and start because we've only got 55 minutes. So I want to get started and we'll just let people in as they show up. I'm going to try and keep track. This is my first ever trying to do this live, so it should be fun. It's so good to see you, Jessica. Oh my gosh, and another Jessica. My life is full of Jessicas. So fun. So, welcome to Flow Not Force. And what I want to do and what we want to accomplish over the next couple of days is just breaking down what some bad programming that our culture, our upbringing, our society has given to us that tends to make us force things rather than let them flow. And that causes us to get out of alignment. So that's what we're going to be talking about over the next 2 days. Um, and I'm super excited about this material. But what I wanted to do is start out with just a quick blessing for our time. For those of you that believe in God or spirit or source or whatever, that's fine. If you don't, that's okay too. This is just a blessing for us and this time and the teaching that we're going to have. So let me begin. Welcome, friends. We are grateful for the presence of every soul gathered here across space and time, and still somehow part of this sacred community all at once. May we each enter into the awareness that we are beginning a journey to show up for ourselves, for our community, and for the larger world around us. May our spirits be open and our minds be still and our hearts be soft. May we receive exactly what we need, no more, no less. And let this space be a space of grace and of truth, a moment set apart from the noise, a time to expand, to remember, to connect to the all in all, and most importantly, to transform. Together, may we flow, not force, and walk forward lighter, clearer, and more connected than before. And so it is. Amen.
Amen.
So, welcome to this space. I am Jen Worthington, and I'm going to be the teacher today and tomorrow. And I just wanted to introduce myself a little bit for those of you that don't know me too terrible well. I'm going to do a great job at letting folks in too. Um, welcome. So, I have been in this work in one way or another over the last 20 years or so. And it has been absolutely wonderful um, to get to know myself, to get to know God, to get to know how the world works, what the world is. It's been a journey. Those of you that know me, and there are some of you here that know me fairly well in the room, those of you that know me know that I've been through quite a few trials myself. I've dealt with the death of a spouse, and my partner right now was diagnosed 5 years ago with pancreatic cancer, stage 4. He was definitely supposed to not be here with us anymore, but here he is still. So I've got to witness miracles and I've got to witness some tragedy as well. Through everything, I feel like I have always had a choice to find joy and greater purpose, a choice to grow and expand, or a choice to give in to darkness and be devastated. And certainly there are things in my life that have definitely would have made it easy, at least for me to choose that path. And that is not the path that I chose. I have consistently, over the last 20 years, chosen life and to expand and to find joy where maybe there wasn't joy before. So, with that, sorry, I'm messing with my my camera. With that, I come before you and I offer an insight into some of the things that I've picked up along the way. And what I wanted to talk about today was this concept of flow, not force. Um, so I'm just going to take a deep breath and I invite all of you to take a deep breath with me. All right. Yay. Welcome, 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 Nicole. It's so good to see your cute face.
Thank you. Took all this time to get on. I don't know. It's asking for a password.
It is?
Yeah, I'm used to Zoom. It was asking for a password. I tried by the fifth time, it finally stopped asking me for a password. Yeah, I've been texting you, so ignore my text. Hello, everybody. I love you.
Hello.
I'm like, oh no. I have my phone, of course, is on silent right now. Oh, that's so good. That is so good. Well, I love technology. It is amazing that it gets to connect us. We have people here from Texas, from the Philippines, from Idaho, and from Michigan. So I'm glad that we all get to be tech connected together, but it doesn't always run as smoothly as we would like. So So I wanted to start our teaching with just kind of setting some terms so that we could all be operating from the same starting point when we're talking about flow and we're talking about force. Um, there's a couple of good definitions of force, right? For you can be a force of nature, you're strong and that can be a good thing, but there's also this force that kind of pushes us. I'm defining force as the exertion of will driven by stress, fear, or internal pressure or external pressure in an attempt to control outcomes from a place of overwhelm rather than a place of alignment. It's rooted in scarcity, in urgency, and a belief that we must push in order to prove our worth or secure our place. Force disconnects us from ourselves, from our inner truth, from other people, and it replaces inspired action with anxious striving. So overall, in our context, for the purposes of this teaching, force is not the greatest of all things to be stuck in, but flow in our context today is going to be the natural movement that arises when we are aligned with our truth, connected to source or God, and grounded in self-awareness. It is a state of presence where action feels inspired rather than forced, and where peace and purpose guide our decisions. In flow, we trust our timing, we honor our energy, and we create from a place of inner knowing rather than external pressure. So, that is what we are going to be talking about over the next couple of days. I do first want to say thank you guys for being here. Again, this is my first time going live, so I'm really excited to do it. But it's definitely been an adventure trying to get here. And I'm wondering now if we had several people that I was pretty sure were going to be here, and I wonder if they're having the same problem as Nicole getting in, but we'll work out those kinks as we go. You have to unmute, Marty. Unmute. She doesn't know how to unmute. That's cute. Nope, she can't do it. I love her. Oh,
Tell her it's a button at the bottom. Tell her
it's
where
the
it is.
button at the bottom, Mom. Over the
Bottom
little
left.
microphone.
Be gentle to those of us over 60, Jen.
I know, I know.
We are wiser than you. You can just be smarter than us, but
Right. Oh, I wonder if I can do it over here. Maybe I can
Can
do
you
it.
hear me now?
There
yes.
you are.
Now
Yes.
I forgot.
What did you?
Because there weren't any buttons on the bottom, but when I touched, I have to do it on my phone because I couldn't get it on the computer and it wouldn't
Oh,
let me log in. And I went downstairs and I couldn't ask, I didn't want to disturb you. So
I already
Evan looked
started.
at my phone and he got me in, but
Where's Evan?
I don't know.
Hmm. Well,
He was downstairs.
we'll deal with it. If anybody that couldn't get logged in will also get the recording, so we're good. We'll edit a little bit though, maybe.
Okay, so I need to mute this again.
Yes, please.
Right.
Now you know how to do it though. She doesn't
Yeah, well, if it comes up again.
if you need to talk. So a lot of us in here are definitely high performers. I just would like to see a show of hands. Anybody that has experienced what they would call burnout in your job, in your in your life. And I know a lot of us have families, friends. Well, we all have families, friends, and social lives. Does anybody feel overwhelmed by all of the things that they have to do on the daily? Yeah, yeah. Me too. And so as somebody who really likes to do well at things, and I also really like for people to like me, I think I got to a place in my life that became pretty untenable. I just had a problem saying no, so I always said yes. And that led me to a place where the more I did things, the more people I was around, the more alone I felt, the less connected I felt, the more isolated I felt. And so I came to a place where I had to stop doing that and find a better solution. And that is when I really started looking at what is necessary, what is not necessary, why am I at this place? So I want to look at why hustle or force doesn't work. So the root for most of us of where our hustle comes from, and we've got people from literally all over the world here today watching, is this drive from either society, culture, your religion, your family. Sometimes it even comes from our own internal drive that's pushing us to work harder, do more, do more. If you work harder and you do more, if you make more, then somewhere you're going to find that fulfillment. I used to think if I just work a little bit harder, everything will fall into place and then it will all be easy. But what I found was the harder I worked, the harder I needed to work. It didn't get easier. And the more I did that, the more disconnected I became from everybody. And also, while I may have had some markers of success, I was building a few businesses at the time and they were doing very well at the time. But at the end of the day, all that I was creating, I didn't get to enjoy any of it because I was pushing so hard, because I was so driven by a force that was telling me I needed to do more, I needed to be more, I needed to make more happen. Um, I would like to ask you guys, what are some of your primary sources of force in your life? What things in you or outside of you do you feel are pushing you into a place that you would call forced? And you can come off mute and tell me.
I think for me, it comes from wanting to avoid criticism. or avoid SmackDown. And so I'll do everything I can to eliminate the possibility of anybody from any perspective ever having anything to criticize me about, which is, of course, not realistic.
So easy to do. And does that work? Have you been able to avoid criticism?
No.
That sucks. That sucks. That sucks. What do we think is the cost of acting this way, living life in a way where we're constantly trying to push for more, constantly being driven by outside forces? I find for myself, the harder I'm pushing, the more I'm feeling forced. And I know Marty can attest to this because she's my mom. But the more that I push, the more that I'm forced, I'm tired, I'm angry, and I get into a failure mindset. So even if I am doing the right things and making the right actions, I am still literally beating myself up, feeling like I still am not doing enough. How many of us live day to day, weeks at a time, months at a time? I mean, I know there were a couple of months, especially just a few years ago, even for me, where I would work 21, 36 days in a row without taking any days off. Wouldn't take any days off. And that was because I felt like, well, I've got to work harder. I've got to try harder. I've got to do more. Interestingly enough, when Lou got sick with cancer, is probably really when I first started realizing that I had to find another way. I had to find another way to operate in the world. I could not continue to push so hard all the time because I had to have something to take care of him, and I had to take time off of work to take care of him. Also, he was supposed to die, so I kind of wanted to spend some time with him before that happened. At the time, I don't think I would have told you that that was a blessing, but I think I would now because it gave me a chance to take a step back and find that place where my natural movement started coming out of what I was aligned with because I just didn't have time to mess around. Where I let peace and purpose guide rather than what everyone was telling me I should be doing or I needed to be doing, or even worse, for Jessica and me, criticizing what I was doing. And I think that when you stop to weigh the cost, the price of force against the benefit of peace, you find there's a pretty huge gap there. There's just a really huge gap there. So what is it exactly that we need to do to get out of or disconnect from a force mentality? Because it is literally everywhere you look. I mean, one of a show that my mom and I were binging on, was it Netflix? Suits. Has anyone seen Suits? These high-priced New York lawyers, and they're cute. And they're winning cases and they're doing all these things. But these people are working from sunrise to midnight, or sunrise to midnight. They're working all the time, and they make a lot of money, but they're working all the time. And I think about a lot of the shows, TV shows that we have out there and how they glorify this manic pace of life. And then we moved into, when we moved back to Michigan, we moved into a cute little neighborhood with lots of families in it, with kids around my kids' age. And I started to get to know the parents a little bit of these kids. And most households have more than just the one kid. We just have the one kid, which I can barely keep up with the one. Most of them had 3 or 4. And these folks are gone all day, every day, all night, every day of the weekend. They are taking a child to do something, a sport, dance, volleyball, softball, football, baseball, basketball. I mean, it is like soccer nonstop. They have 0 life because they're running their kids around. And I started to feel a little bit anxious because it's not the pace of our life. We don't run Caleb that ragged, I don't think. But it was a lot of pressure for me to feel like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing as a good parent? Is this how I'm supposed to behave? Or I have friends that are involved in this organization and that organization, the other organization, they're going out and they're doing all of these, like, how do you have the energy to do all of this? And at the end of the day, when we sit down for coffee, when we get a chance, is that a good thing for their life? Are they feeling fulfilled? Or do we run around from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing because we're empty? And we keep hoping that that next thing is going to be what fills us up. When really, we're the only thing that can fill us up. Our connection to ourselves and our connection to spirit, God, source, the universe, whatever you want to call that power, that is what fills, and that is what we need to get back to. So I came up with this idea of spiritual self-image, where I looked at my self-image in my little flesh suit, Jen suit, and I thought, gosh, she has a lot of feelings and she thinks a lot of things. She thinks her hair is not long enough, or her isn't short enough, or it's not blonde enough. It's getting a little gray over here. You know, I have feelings. I can't see as well. My body doesn't work as well. Really like to move my body more. I think a lot of things. I should read more. Who here thinks they should read more? Oh, the pressure. I have friends that read like a book like this in a day. A book like this will take me a month if I'm going to sit down and read it. I do Audible though. I do Audible well sometimes when I'm in the mood. But I have a whole bunch of feelings about myself. But my spirit, that is a different story. That is a different experience. That is a different beast altogether. I remember one day I was so exhausted and I was so tired. I was kind of at the end of myself. And I went up to a spare bedroom and I was not feeling the greatest about myself. I definitely think too, as women, I'm not a man and I don't identify that way. I don't know if they have the same penchant for being mean to themselves as we do as women. But I had been particularly in a dark place with myself. So I went up to my room and I sat there and I was like, God, I need some help because I don't have any good feelings for myself right now. I only have bad feelings for myself right now. Who do you think I am? And I just sat there. And I waited. And I know that we have a lot of noise coming at us from all different sides all the time. And sometimes it's really hard to hear that inner voice, that place where we're connected to God and God is connected to us. But I waited for it that night. I don't know how I was so patient, but I was that night and I waited. And I started writing down what God was saying about me. And I've had people ask me in the past, well, how do you know that was God? I'm like, nobody is that nice to me except God. So I wrote down those things and I started thinking, okay, this is my spiritual self-image. This is who my spirit is. This is what God says that I am. Who am I to argue with that kind of power? I have created a lot of things in my life. I have painted paintings. I have made poems. I have made a beautiful boy. I have loved a lot of people. I have not, however, created a universe or any worlds that I'm aware of at this point. So why not take that word for it? Why not take that word for it and realize that's who I am? And if that's who I am, what does that feel like? What does that feel like to be that beautiful, that full of light, that capable of accomplishing things at that point I hadn't even dreamed of yet? That feels amazing. And what I come to understand is that it wasn't that I needed to be fixed, it's that I needed to remember who I was. I didn't need to be fixed. I needed to remember who I was. I think we spend a lot of time feeling like there's something wrong with us, that we're broken, that we need to be fixed. But I'm going to pose a challenge for each of us to realize or to see from a different perspective that it's not that you're broken. It's not that you're wrong or you're bad. It's that you need to remember who you are. There's a difference in how you start operating in the world when it's who you are and not who everybody else tells you that you are. There's a difference when you see yourself not as a performer, but as a presence in the world. There's a difference in how you look at other people, not just how you look at yourself. There's difference in how you act to other people. There's a difference in what you're able to give to other people. For me, and again, I'm not saying that guys don't feel this way, but I know as women, as me, I have always felt like I have to give everything that I have away. There's no space for Jen. There's not space for what Jen wants, what Jen needs, what Jen loves. It is all my friends, my job, my family, my kid. It is hard to reprogram ourselves to understand, like they say on the airplane, put your own mask on first before you put anybody else's mask on. Because if you can't breathe, you can't help anybody else. If you can't breathe, you can't help anybody else. I also really love to play with, I was raised in Christianity and I know the Bible quite well. And one of those verses that just gets used all the time is that, oh, what is the greatest commandment? To love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, to love your neighbor as yourself. But I will tell you, you can look at the world right now and see how much we love ourselves. Because there's not a lot of loving our neighbors going on right now. And how can you? How can you love your neighbor when you look in the mirror and you tear yourself down? When you make a list of all of the things that you were supposed to do, and you have the list of the things you accomplished, and you beat yourself up for all those things that didn't get done without even acknowledging what you did. I'm sure none of y'all do that. I know I don't. But what if we started being super excited about all the things that we did do? What if instead of our force list, we just had a smaller list that was our flow list? And at the top of that list, love yourself. Love yourself. If you don't love yourself, you cannot love your partner. You cannot love your kids. You cannot love your neighbors. You certainly can't love your enemies. But you can grow that list. You can absolutely grow that list. If love yourself isn't that top space every day. I've started for the last few months, I've started this little practice of every time I go by a mirror, stopping and looking at myself in the eyes and saying, I love you. You are beautiful. Good job. Takes 5 seconds. It makes a world of difference. It makes a world of difference. What kind of things do you think? Well, let me ask you guys this. You can either unmute and say out loud, or you can put over in the chat. What things in the world are you most worried about right now?
What's happening in Gaza? What's happening here in the United States with immigrants? Things that feel out of my control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 Those things are big things. I worry about those. I feel overwhelmed a lot. The world right now is not what I was planning for my glorious 50s, I'll tell you that much. It's not what I was thinking was going to be going on at this
And
point.
prior to this, it felt like even though you disagreed with people, you could talk about it without them attacking you. Like there was actual conversations.
Yeah,
I don't feel like
not a lot of
I'm a pretty nice
conversating
person. So
going
when I get
on.
attacked, I'm pretty surprised.
Yeah,
So it makes you pull back.
yeah,
And that in itself is, it's not saying I'm less than or I'm too much. It's just saying I live in a world where I deeply love people, but I can't interact with them in a genuine way. And
yeah.
that's heavy.
It's hard. It's hard.
It's when you wake up in the middle of the night, you don't go back to sleep because those thoughts begin going.
The train leaves the station and there's no stopping it. There's
And
no stopping it.
and is the solution to like be ignorant and not know what's happening in the world? No, that's not really the solution, especially if we want to be part of the solution and be prayerful. You have to be
Yeah.
educated, you have to pay attention.
You do. You do. And then how you process that information. Um, and this is kind of a whole module of my new program called the Empowered Path.
Ooh.
Is on what I call your divine imagination. So back in April, I went to this conference with the pastor of my church and another person. It's called the Post Evangelical Collective. It's people that were kicked out of or injured by kind of a harsh evangelical movement, but they still want God in their lives and they're looking for a way. I find that a lot of us, and I wasn't even intending to go this way, but we're going to go this way. So I find that a lot of us, and I'm not excluding myself from this because I do the same thing sometimes. Um, we fall in love with our traumas and our pains and all of the problems of the world that feel really big. And I'm not saying they're not, they are. But then we abdicate power. We abdicate responsibility. We abdicate action to somebody else. Somebody else needs to figure these things out. Somebody else is in charge and they need to figure these things out. Somebody else needs to do the things. And I'm not saying that, oh, we can take out all the things and fix everything because we can't do that. But what we can do is realize the power that we have, not the forceful power, the power that flows, the power that says, what I imagine can be reality. What I dream can be reality. Because before there was an airplane, there was somebody that dreamed of flying. Before there was a war, somebody dreamed of fighting. But so many of us have abdicated our power, abdicated our responsibility. Somebody else fills that space. Somebody is going to create something. You were made to be a creator. You were made to be a creator. It's just probably about 99% of us have let 1% of us take over that creative power, force. And here we are. But what if we stopped? What if we started awakening our divine imaginations? What if we started coming up with inspired action plans? What if we started believing that we actually can make a difference rather than we have to bear down and make it through somehow? Or gather what's ours and keep it close to us so we don't lose what little we have. What if we realized who we are and started acting like? Lou and I started watching Ted Lasso. If you have not watched Ted Lasso, please make yourself do it. He's the best person. But the lady that owns the soccer team that he's coaching, and if you don't know anything about the show, that's okay. She calls herself a bad boss bitch. Do you know that everyone in here is a bad boss bitch? We have all of that inside of us. But I'll tell you, maybe, and maybe this is the worst thing that our force culture society does to us. It beats us down. We don't realize. We have creative power. We have creative power. We can imagine things and make them happen when we take time to imagine and then step back and let God make it happen through us, around us, bring us the resources. We've all heard amazing stories. Heck, I am the recipient of one of the, it's not even one of, it is the greatest miracle I've ever encountered. Lou should be dead. 3 times Lou should be dead. And the man played 18 holes of golf this morning and wrote a book. And that was some creative power that was enacted in his body through him because he wanted to live. I think, and Marty can attest, we were definitely ready for him to go. I mean, it certainly seemed like that's what was going to happen, but that man wanted to live. And so that's what happened. He wanted to live so he could see Caleb get older. He wanted to live because he didn't want me to have to go through losing another spouse. He wanted to live. And that's what happened. But that's just something for us to think about. I do want for this last little bit, I put together a meditation that I want to play for you guys and that we're going to do together. It's just a quick little guided meditation to focus on who we are. And I want you guys to listen during this meditation. It's not long. I want you to listen and get ready to write down who you are. What do you hear? Who you are. We're going to be using, I really love the power of language, and English isn't always the best language to express powerful things sometimes, I think. So I've been using some Sanskrit mantras in my own prayer and meditation practice. And we're going to talk a lot more about building this identity, building this spiritual self-image, and what can we do to feed that. I personally, for me, I love prayer and meditation. It has changed my whole world in the last 8 months, for sure. really my whole life, but definitely over the last 8 months. So we're going to be using a Sanskrit mantra that means I am that. I am that. It's super easy too. It's so hum. But I'm going to put that on. Hang on 1 second. You guys can turn your cameras off for this part. I'm going to figure out how to do this. Okay. And then if anybody can't hear, let me know. Let's see.
Sit comfortably upright. Let your hands come to rest on top of your lap, with your palms facing upwards. Place your attention on your breath. There is no need to change your breathing. Just notice how the air flows effortlessly into and out of your body. Each breath, you feel more relaxed, more at ease. Now, place your attention on your heart space. Gently notice how your heart is radiating warm energy in all directions. Notice how it fills your chest, torso with warm, vibrant light. Place your attention now on the crown of your head. Notice a bright green energy swirling above your head and flowing into your body. Feel its light fill your head and flow down into your neck and your shoulders. Notice how it flows into your arms and down to your fingertips. Feel this wise green energy fill your chest and torso and down into your hips. Notice how it coats your legs all the way down to your feet and fills to the tips of your toes. As we prepare for our meditation, let us focus on our centering thought. I am whoever I envision myself to be. I am whoever I envision myself to be. For this time, I want you to focus on the Sanskrit mantra, So Hum. So Hum. So Hum. The essence of this mantra is I am that which I believe, which I seek, or I am that I am. This mantra invites us to consider that we are whoever we envision ourselves to be. Hold this mantra lightly as you meditate. If you find yourself distracted in thoughts that lead you away from this place of intention, gently come back to the mantra. So Hum. So Hum. So Hum. Please continue with your meditation. I will bring us back when it is time to continue. So Hum. So Hum. So Hum.
Yay. Okay. I am whoever I envision myself to be. The person I am today is built on the thoughts I had yesterday. I thank you guys so much for being here with me. We are at our hour. I don't want to take any more of your time, but tomorrow is going to be amazing. We are going to talk about, it's going to be a little bit maybe more workshoppy. We're going to talk about a little bit more about building on this exercise, who I am, and how to build a practice around that that helps us continue moving forward in that way so that we can make an inspired action plan. I will be sending out the replay to you guys via email along with the recap for today and a little bit of homework for you guys just to consider as you go through the rest of your days. I look forward to seeing you guys out there. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Jen. What are you envisioning? This is obviously not a today, tomorrow thing.
What am I envisioning? So,
Yeah.
I am currently developing a program called the Empowered Path, and it consists of two modules that are applicable to anybody, and then a third module that will eventually be customizable depending on your career path or your business that you're trying to build. So the first two models are heavily invested. Module 1 is all about mindset and identity. And then module 2 is about awakening your divine imagination and cultivating an inspired action plan so that you can start moving in that vein. So it will be a program that will stand alone. It'll have video teachings and a workbook, but really best in practice with others. So we'll have a group coaching component that you can do with it, or one-on-one coaching, or you can do both one-on-one and group coaching. So yeah.
So in other words, what we're doing today and tomorrow is kind of like I'm upstairs and I can smell the cookies baking downstairs. And so it makes me want to go downstairs. So that's what
The idea. That's
you're
the idea. Yeah.
making us smell cookies, basically.
Yeah, we're making cookies. I like that. I'm baking cookies. They're gonna be tasty.
You're enticing us with the smell. All right.
Enticing you with the smell. Yeah.
I love
That
you
is
so much.
Oh, Jessica. Yay. Oh, I love it. So good. Yeah. So you guys will have some exercises tonight. I hope you enjoy the workbook. That'll be coming out. Let's see, it's 2 o'clock my time now. So it'll be out by 4. We'll have this edited down and out to you guys. So thank you so much. I really am so grateful for all of you guys being here. Yay! I'll see you later.
Bye.